My name's Jodie. I am the Northern Account Manager for Youtravel. I just want to say a really big thank you for everyone for taking the time out to join our Ajman webinar this morning. Over the next 30 minutes or so, you're going to hear from the lovely Chris Lee, who you can see on your screen. He's the marketing manager for Ajman Tourism, and both myself and you guys are going to learn a whole new world out there. There will be some prizes up for grabs. We're giving away 2 lots of £20 Love to Shop vouchers, but the very exciting big prize, it's a 5-night stay, that's for 2, at the 5-star Bahi Ajman Palace Hotel, based on a bed and breakfast basis. So at the end of the presentation, what you'll need to do is we will ask a few questions. You will then just need to email me direct with the answers by 4 p.m. today. And the winners will be announced today. They'll get a phone call from me, and it will also be announced on our Facebook Youtravel for Agents page also. So yeah, without further ado, everybody's turned, the cameras are off and everybody's muted. That's just for the purpose of Chris doing his presentation. If there's any questions at all, feel free to ask. Just type it in the chat and I'll raise it to Chris as we're going along. Okay, great. Thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to Chris. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Jodie. Welcome everybody. But before you hear from me, I think we should hear from one of our local friends in Ajman.
My grandfather once told me that we are fortunate to be from this place. I thought I was lucky to know him and have family like mine, to see beauty wherever I looked around me. What a home to have, whether you like to live life fast or as slow as you like. It will let you. He taught me to spend time with nature. Funny how he didn't say nature, but with. I always still think about that. I think about the days when he was a little boy. My age, how life must have been like back in time. And he tells me stories that sound like dreams. It was those dreams that became their future and our today. Now we get to play in the sun year-round and explore all the jewels of our town. Not only the things that we built ourselves, but what nature herself has gifted us. I heard stories about treasures, old and new. Journeys to the deep, about brave men and women. About big forts and happy people, about the importance of song and dance, about friendships and about love. I learned how to find joy in being alone and how to make it grow when I'm with others, how to be happy with what I have, but also how to grow and be kind and generous, and give from what I have to all that cross my path. I learned to work hard and to take time to rest from the work and to passionately play when I can. That's how I learned what it means to be Emirati and what it means to make something for the future. My grandfather taught me how to be sincere and to treat every guest like a member of my family. So I welcome you to my home. I welcome you to Ajman.
So welcome to Ajman. Ajman is the smallest of the 7 Emirates. Provides excellent value for money compared to our neighbouring Emirates. It's just a 30-minute drive from Dubai airport. So when you come out, turn right to go to Ajman rather than turn left into Dubai. Or if you're flying into Abu Dhabi, it will take 1 hour 43 minutes to get into Ajman. Our friends at Emirates fly from 6 UK airports to Dubai, with weekly flights from Heathrow, that's 6 a day, and Gatwick double daily, Birmingham double daily, Manchester double daily, 4 from Newcastle, and daily from Glasgow. Also, British Airways fly double daily from London Heathrow to Dubai. So with a population of just over 500,000, Arabic is the official language of the UAE, but English is widely spoken. You'll see it on all the signs in both languages. So the Ajman weather is one of our greatest assets because it's warm all year round. Just 2 seasons, summer and winter. It gets down to a perilously cold 15 degrees in the winter and up to as much as 40 degrees in the summer. We're blessed by 16 kilometres of sandy beach with beautiful beachfront hotels. So the hotels are mainly located in 3 areas. First is along the Corniche, the second is in the city, and the third is in the region called Al Zora. Given the size of Ajman, it's still fairly small. Most of the attractions are within a short walking distance from the hotels, but you can also take the new driverless car shuttle, which I experienced back in December. So this is quite an amazing experience. You basically get in and it just drives you off. No driver, all done by sensors. Very, very clever. Yeah, that's just been introduced. So the Ajman Corniche, it's a beautiful stretch of beach, nice wide pavements, plenty of restaurants and cafes, and really, really family friendly. And this is the main part of Ajman's beach area. The hotels which are featured there, the main hotels, there are 4 5-star hotels. The Ajman Surrey, which is part of the luxury collection, the Fairmont Hotel, the Ajman Hotel, which is by Blazon Hotels, and the Bahi Ajman Palace Hotel. But all very beautiful hotels. Ajman Surrey probably one of the most boutique, and Bahi probably the most grand and spectacular. And that's the way we'll be giving the prize away at the end, so listen on in. And then there's a 4-star option as well on the Corniche, which is operated by Wyndham, again providing excellent value for money. And then we have the city centre. So we have our own shopping mall. Obviously, Dubai is famous for all its shopping, but we have our own Ajman shopping mall with 79 international and local brands, and our very own cinema and Magic Planet as well. Food, lots and lots of eating outlets. You certainly won't go hungry in Ajman. And hotels wise, the 5-star Radisson Blu is an excellent hotel, as is the 2 4-stars by Ramada Hotel and Suites and the Beach Hotel. What you find with the city hotels is they provide, again, even more better value in the city and can be used very much for stopover hotels if you're going onwards from Dubai into the Indian Ocean or the Far East or onwards further. So this is really your greatest value proposition. And then the wonderful Al Zora. So what is Al Zora? It's a premium waterfront lifestyle leisure destination. It's sat on a tidal lagoon, which creates an inland creek that extends over 2 square kilometres. It's one of the great surprises, really, and that's why I put this picture behind me of the wetlands, which are stunning and contain over 60 species of birds, including our friends, the flamingos here. So this is really one of the things that sets out Ajman from some of its Emirates neighbours in terms of our biodiversity, because we've got from the wetlands in Al Zora to the city, to the beach, and out into the desert, into the mountainous desert as well. So a real biodiverse destination. And in Al Zora, we've got 2 stunning properties. The first is the Oberoi Beach Resort, and that's a beautiful, beautiful hotel sat on what my friends often described as an Indian Ocean quality beach. Really, really stunning. And then new, literally so new, it opened just last week, is the health and well-being place called Zoya. And this is going to set new standards of health and well-being in the UAE. It offers 7-day packages to put your mind, body and soul back to where it should be. So definitely worth checking that out as well. As well as this, we've got a great golf course in Al Zora. It was created and designed by Jack Nicklaus, with Nicklaus Design, and managed by Troon Golf. It's world class, spectacular par 72, and set again on this amazing backdrop of 1 million square meters of mangroves. Really stunning background to that. So we often talk about the fact that Ajman, compared to Dubai has so many things man-made and otherwise to do, and Ajman is like an antidote. It's a place to go and relax, but we have plenty of things to do as well, including kayaking, golf, as we've mentioned. You can cycle or hike into the mountains. There's so many things that we can do as well, whether it's being on the water with the jet skiing, on the cable parks, the kayaking, onto the land with the golf and tennis, or out into those mountains, whether you're being on horse, on a bike, or hiking. The Ajman Abra is a really quaint little boat system which connects the major regions of Ajman. And this is a tradition which goes back hundreds of years, and it links all the major areas. A real symbol of the tradition and the past of Ajman's fishing industry. Festival Adventure is one of my real passions. So this is a kayaking experience set on the wetlands, which you can do, which I do every time I go there. I just really love this. It's a beautiful setting. And in fact, you can also be part of this plantation of what they're planting 50,000 mangrove trees as part of the celebrations of the Emirates, which is 50 years old this year. So we mentioned a little bit of shopping in terms of the mall, but what other shopping is available, and what about the food? So the traditional shopping to match the modern mall is the souks. The souk Saleh is set out in this traditional sort of architecture. It provides great shopping, particularly for souvenirs and gifts, and it's a real favourite with the locals. Best seen probably at night. I think shopping at night is still what I would definitely recommend, and has a fantastic sort of atmosphere of Arabia. And then the gold souk. So again, all sorts of elaborate pieces and jewellery, specialist jewellery from Arabia, from India, and from Europe. All custom made and at very competitive prices. So if you're into a bit of gold shopping, there's no finer place in the Emirates. Mazar Ajman is a new development on the waterfront in the heart of Ajman. This is made up of a series of beautiful restaurants, a floating restaurant, and a lot of boutique shops. So very new, and certainly definitely worth a visit. The Ajman Cubes is really quite quaint and very unique. It's actually put together in a series of sea containers. So they've been built in these things, and you've got restaurants in here and cafes. There's an art gallery and a spa. I went to this steak restaurant in the Cubes, and it was absolutely awesome. So a really sort of unique setting, and just 20 minutes outside the centre of the city. So Ajman boasts a great culture, art and heritage, and probably no best way to understand that culture and history than by visiting the Ajman Museum, which has just been refurbished just only recently and open again for you all to see. So after the culture, you can go out and go beyond the border, as we say, in the mountains, and go and see two key places. Masfoot is set up with the Hajar mountain backdrop. It's about 90 minutes outside the city. It's got a fantastic museum there, which again takes you through all the history of the region, and quite an impressive castle there as well, and fort. You can bike there. There's biking trails, there's hiking trails, and there's a great mosque there as well. And then a little closer it's a 60-minute drive from the Ajman city centre is Al Manama. This has got a great museum, and is really known for its agriculture and the most amazing honey. So a really good place to visit. And so food, as you can probably tell, I love my food, and there's all sorts of different types of food experience available in Ajman. Whether it be international cuisine, or cafes, or street food, or local food, there really is a great range. So my favourite international restaurant would probably be the Thai Gate. This is, as it obviously says, it serves some fantastic Thai food. Also does Japanese food as well. A great setting. It's one of the restaurants again in the cubes, the Ajman cubes, and really a beautiful place for the scenery, but also the food is spectacular. Qadim Nadim Cafe shows off what is my favourite way of eating, which is like a tapas approach. So it's you can have food which is very much authentic Arabic food and contains Emirati dishes. And the cafe is definitely one of the hippest places and hangouts in Ajman. And then there's a floating restaurant, which I mentioned earlier, is in the Mazar Ajman, on the waterfront in Ajman. And this is a great place to go, whether it's for breakfast, lunch or dinner. It provides a fantastic sort of buffet style with various cuisines, and really good actually for the family to visit as well. So really good expression there. So we may be the smallest Emirati, but we sincerely bring you a little more. I think a little more natural diversity, so that diversity from the wetlands to the city, to the beach, to the mountains. Fantastic food, and a level of authenticity in terms of the sort of food that we offer. Traditional and modern shopping. And an authentic culture and history which dates back hundreds of years. So it's a little more Ajman for you. Well, I hope that's given you some insight into our wonderful little Emirati. If you've got any questions, please ask away. That's it for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. That was amazing. I've learned so much. I will be going for the food and going to the Zoya Health and Wellness Retreat. Looks absolutely amazing. So, yeah, thank you so much. There's just a few comments coming through. Everybody says it looks amazing. And Matthew Carpenter has asked, are there any COVID protocols in Ajman?
No longer. No, they are gone. Just like here, we are moving on. So no, it's very good. Actually, the UAE really did very well through the COVID. It contained things extremely well. So it remained open a lot longer than the most destinations. So that's certainly the case. Okay,
great, good stuff. Can I just ask anybody who hasn't already, who may have joined a little bit later, just to pop your name and the company you're from, please, in the chat, just so we can keep track of everybody that's joined. Thank you. There may be another question coming. Can you give a rough, this has come from Jan Ledger, can you give a rough idea, I think that means as a cost to dinner out, how much is it? Is it probably as expensive as Dubai, or is it?
Yeah, no problem, Jan. It is tends to be a bit cheaper. So basically, we position ourselves as a better value. Nobody likes to use the word cheap, do we? Than Dubai. But in terms of what you're going to spend, of course, it depends on what you spend. I suppose one extreme was I ate in this fantastic steak restaurant, which was probably as much as you would probably pay, and I paid about £30 a head. But that was the most amazing steak I've ever had. It was the Wagyu beef, the one. Oh, extraordinary. So yeah, so it's really not that expensive per head at all. A lot of people eat in all the restaurants that feature along the Corniche. A lot of them have sort of real signature restaurants. In the Ajman Hotel, there's a fantastic Indian restaurant which is rated constantly as one of the best in the UAE. So yeah, you'll never be short of things to eat or a range of food. But I think one of the things that sets it apart probably from its neighbour is that, again, there's a lot more access to authentic UAE food.
Great, thank you. Maybe another question coming from Dawood.
Right.
What are the roads like out there, Chris, in terms of traffic?
Yeah, well, obviously the thing is, you see, is that often the same is that when you come out of Dubai Airport, it's often quicker to get into Ajman than it is to get into Dubai itself, just because the way that the road is, the roads are. And when you get into Ajman, Ajman's a fairly small city. So getting around is easy. You can do most of it by foot. Although I did like the driverless car, I have to say. That was quite an experience. It was like getting on the Docklands Light Railway, but rather than a rail, it's on the roads. No, it's easy to get around. That's not a problem at all. If you're going to the Al Zora region from the Corniche, it's a short taxi ride. So that's often, and the taxis are numerous and easy to get through. So no problem there.
There's a few questions come through from Julianne. Which hotel do you recommend for families? That was going to be one of my questions as well. So good one, Julie. Yeah.
I suppose I shouldn't really be recommending one, should I? But I think I quite like the Ajman Hotel. It's a more traditional hotel. It's one of the older hotels, but it's in really good shape, and it's got quite a lot of things to do, including a 10-pin bowling alley in there as well, which I thought was great fun. So it's got a lot of facilities for families, so that would work really well. But actually, any of those hotels along the Corniche, I think, are excellent for families. Okay,
great. So Dawood's asked, are there any new properties coming to Ajman that we need to know about?
So I said Zoya just opened.
Yeah.
That was only last week, and I believe there is another hotel which is due to be built next year, which will be next door to the Oberoi, but details aren't yet released.
Okay. And Amy, how long would you recommend staying to get the full experience?
Minimum of a week, I think. Minimum of a week. I think the lovely thing is that we can't stop by doing the comparison with Dubai, and Dubai is amazing in terms of it's got so many things to do. That's great, but Ajman, it's much more relaxed and chilled. I think a little bit more authentic and sort of a chance to just unwind. I think that's what I loved about it, and taking in sort of the different biodiversity. I found it really really good place to recline and relax.
Do people do like a twin centre? Just them doing a few nights in Ajman, a few nights in Dubai or Ras Al Khaimah?
Yeah, they have done, and again, that's the other thing you can do is that staying in Ajman, it means you can still take all the advantages of getting into Dubai, which takes 30 minutes to get into Dubai, and they have bus shuttles going from all the hotels into Dubai each day, so you can dip into that when you want to, but then come and relax back in Ajman when you want to as well.
From it all, yeah. So Matt's asked, can we get an idea of nationality mix in Ajman?
It's pretty broad, to be honest with you. It's mainly sort of European. So yeah, definitely European. Russian market is there as well, definitely. Yeah, it's a nice mix. I would say that it's not dominated by one country in any way. and I found it very, again, it's very chilled out. So yeah, that's what I found.
And then I think it's maybe the final question from Julianne. So the Al Zahra area is going to be the next area for development. Do you think? Sorry, question. As you mentioned, another hotel there next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing to understand is that Ajman is not a big place, and that's sort of one of its, that's what we sell ourselves on. So it's not going to suddenly have lots and lots of hotels being built anywhere. But I think Al Zahra will get the next hotel. But I wouldn't see there being many more hotels after that, to be honest with you, just because of the geographical size of it. And that's really what it's all about. We are as boutique as our next door neighbour is big.
Brand, yeah. Sorry, we just got another question, I think, from Matthew.
Great stuff. Great stuff. I think the real opportunity, if I may say, for all of you is that it's because we're not that well known, very honestly. But once you've actually explored it and seen it, it's definitely a great thing to offer your customer, because it is different. And particularly, I think people who like to go back to Dubai, revisitors to Dubai, giving them this option, I think it goes down really well. And the feedback we've had from the agents that have offered Ajman has been excellent. I think it's been a pleasant surprise for people to have this sort of quite a different destination, yeah, on the side of our wonderful Dubai.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, there's a lot of love coming through for Ajman.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good. So
now for the questions. So pretty much, as I said earlier, some people might not have been on the webinar at this point. I'm going to ask a few questions with regards to what you've just seen in Chris's presentation, and then if you email me direct, I'll put my email address here in the chat. If you send your answers to me by 4 o'clock today, we will announce the winners today on our Facebook for Agents page, and I'll also give you a call direct as well. So by 4 o'clock today, send me, Jodie, an email with the answers. So the first question is, what is the distance from Dubai Airport to Ajman? The second question, if you were to take a guided tour through the Al Zahra Nature Reserve, what mode of transport would you use? So that's through the kind of wetlands. And the third question, so on that guided tour, what are the long-legged birds you would see? The big attraction out there. So let me just pop my name, my email address into the chat. And send your answers to me by 4 p.m. today. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. It was brilliant, really good. And thank you everyone for joining as well. Oh yeah, I'll put the questions in the chat. I will, before everyone goes. Sorry, went too quick. So I'll do that right now. But yeah, so thank you very much, Chris.